Hello.
What's good, bro?
How's it going? How's it going?
Welcome to the Drive Project Podcast, man. I appreciate you so much, everybody. We got somebody incredible. This man, not only is he a barber, and that is, and to me, barbers are essential. I don't know about you, but it is for me.
Amen.
But this man is an artist with a great heart, and you are skilled. It is beyond, man. The work is beautiful. Number one, it's personal to me because my boys trust you. I bring my sons
Thank you.
to you. And I don't know about anybody else that is listening, but there is something about ladies, when your wig is done, guys, when you got the right line, this is what I say. I say when you feel good, you do good. And so,
Right. That's right.
man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
For coming on and just wanting to just share
Yeah.
and talk. And so thank you for your heart. Thank you for your passion, your drive. It is just so beyond. And so if nobody has told you that you are needed, I want to tell you, I need you.
Thank you. And we need people like you too.
Thank you, sir.
We need each other. So that's how we benefit.
Yes. Well, number one, this has been a great season because the whole topic has been motivation versus stagnation. And I've had people come on and just share, their perspective on what it means to them in either in their line of work or just how they're dealing with day to day. I've even opened up with just telling people we're dealing with a pandemic right now. How do you motivate yourself? How do you get through this season? And sometimes I'm not motivated. I don't know what to do. And then somebody like you comes on and shares just what I call perspective.
Right.
And all of a sudden it shifts the mind.
Yeah.
It causes you to think outside the box. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, maybe there's something greater internally on the inside of me that needs to come on the outside.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you become an answer in the midst of a problem. So, but I'm not going to keep talking because this right now, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to jump out of the ring. You are in the middle of the ring, the center of the ring. And it's time for you to spit some game, duke it out, do what you do, man. So let's just go give a little bit of feedback on your life, who you are, and then we'll go into this.
Okay. My name is Aaron Davis. I'm based out of Everett, Mill Creek, Washington. I'm 29 years old. I'm an artist, barber. I make music. I have a family. I'm a proud father. And I used to teach hip hop, break dancing, and yeah. So so I've done a lot of different things throughout my life, and I've always been very passionate and artistic. So with that being said, I love the topic, motivation versus stagnation. And like you said, right now is a very hard time. But the best way to go about it is to do things that you do not have the time for. Especially everybody working and we lose track and family time and we have to stay focused and busy. So I looked at it as kind of a blessing in a way, but it's also very overwhelming. I went from a full-time barber to a full-time dad and a full-time artist. And when I first started cutting hair and doing art, I was quarantined in my house for about 7-8 years. I was cutting out of my house. I was doing art just to get by. And so that was to keep just money to pay for bills. And it was very hard. I was a starving artist for a very long time. But I also went through a lot of hard times. And I remember at one point in time, I was sleeping in the Walmart parking lot in my Pontiac, which I missed my Pontiac. And I remember looking at the sunroof and just smiling. I was smiling because I knew that was just a temporary speed bump. And I knew that there was something better for me, and I knew that I was going to eventually get over that speed bump. If it took a little bit of time, then that's fine. With that being said, I've always been very passionate and very creative. So I took the time with this going on to put in more time into my art, put in more time with my family, my son. And it's not easy. I went from not doing no school homework, schoolwork with my son to doing it every day. And it's very overwhelming, but you know, I believe that there's it just turns you into a better person.
It does.
And I do not mind doing the work because I have fought for everything I love in my life, and I love the struggle. I feed off the struggle. I feed off the setbacks in life. And when somebody's sitting here telling me I cannot work, well, guess what? I'm an entrepreneur, and I'll figure out how to make another income. It might not be
Wow.
it might not be the amount of money that I make at the shop, but I know that God has my back, and you know, I believe in faith, and I believe there's a higher power. I'm not religious, but I have a religious background with my family.
Okay.
But my mom told me with all this going on, to be honest, I was actually starting to lose the love and the passion for doing hair because I'm so overwhelmed and so booked up, and it's stressful because a part of my career is I'm building and I'm growing very fast, and I got to stay after hours or stay or come in early because clients want my time, and it's very hard to find my time.
And the thing is, because you're incredible. That's what it is.
Thank you. And
You're good at what you do, man.
right.
Yeah.
And so my mom told me, she was like, this was very powerful to me. She told me, you know, son, I know that you're losing the passion for hair, and because you're so caught up on trying to make people happy, when you need to sit back and start making yourself happy
Wow.
and doing what you need to do for yourself. But she says, God did not create us to clock in and clock out every day. God created us to be entrepreneurs, to create and to build and to grow. And I thought that was so powerful because not only I'm getting time away from the shop that I've been asking for, but I'm getting time to put into my art, to put into my family, to focus on myself. And that's very important itself. Is, yeah, you need family time, yeah, you need time, you know, to give to your loved ones, but you also need time for yourself, and that's very important.
I think that is something. There's something to be said about that because you just said you need to take time out for your happiness, and
Yeah.
I can testify to for years, man. I gave so much effort into making sure somebody else had a smile on their face, and on the inside, I'm like dying.
Right.
And, you know, and there's this fear of, well, I don't want to say that I'm hurting. I don't want to say that I'm not happy. So I'm just
Right.
going to make you happy, because then there's something that is, I don't know if it's like fulfilled, but I remember finally taking like a moment where I'm like, I cannot, how can you give something if you don't even have it for yourself first?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you're starving. It's like you feed, it's almost like, I put it this way. It's like if I'm starving,
Yep.
hungry, and
Yeah.
I have food,
Yeah.
but I keep giving it to somebody else and I never eat.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of people have lived like is, you know, you have to feed yourself, take care of, nourish yourself so that way you can have the strength to
Yes.
feed somebody else.
Yep.
Stop eating out of your starvation. Ooh, that's a word.
Yeah. I like that.
Stop, you have to really, the same thing with your happiness.
Yep.
Take time out to figure out what is going to make you happy. And happiness, of course, is like fleeting. You need to, I almost say you got to graduate to joy, because joy will carry. The joy will carry you through.
Yes.
Happy or not.
Preach
But
it.
I
Preach it.
do believe that you do need to make sure that you're doing things that you love that makes you happy first before you try to go fulfill somebody else's dream.
Absolutely.
I'm done jumping out. You keep talking.
Absolutely. And you know, the crazy thing with that is, so I don't know if your audience knows, I travel and compete with doing hair, and
Yo, yeah, talk about that.
and so with that being said, they see the trophies, they see the traveling, they see the glamour, they see the videos, and they see the success out of it. But really, I do not make money back. I might make money that entered into the contest, but it's very exhausting. It's very tiring, and it drains me, and it takes a lot of time away from my family, and it's a lot of sacrifices, and a lot of people don't understand that, and it's hard to get people to understand that, which it's not their job to understand. to compete and to take classes for my clients to grow as an artist, and that's just where I always like to think outside the box and to push myself to the next limit, and that's where I grow as an artist, is to put my work on the line, to see where I'm at, to keep me on my toes, and it's not to be like, oh, I'm the best. It's to keep me on the outskirts, to know that I'm also growing and I'm willing to put my work on the line to show my worth and where I'm at in life.
Right.
So
Right.
so it's and then again I gotta focus on taking care of my clients back home. And with that being said, I've been competing for 2 years. I've competed in about 35 competition, placing
Wow.
placing 31 times.
Oh God.
Yeah, taken first in one of the biggest competitions in Vegas, hosted by Jay Majors and Iced Out Barber, Floyd Mayweather's barber. I placed first in the freestyle and second in the casino wars. And then recently, I just placed second place in a Babyliss submission video, which I've been working extremely hard for the last 3 years to be on stage with Babyliss. And that's one of the biggest companies in the barber industry. And so and you know,
congratulations. Number one, can I just say congratulations?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Man, you gotta give like props to people, and it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out. It's one thing to have a dream; it's another thing to put feet to your dream.
Exactly.
Or even just feet to something that you want to see accomplished. You know what I mean? And that to me motivates me, because it's like that really inspires me to like, hey, if you want something, set a goal and put feet to it.
Yeah.
Because that to me is what faith is.
Yeah.
That's what faith is to me.
Exactly. That's what it is. And I'll tell you what, this is from me. This is the honest truth. If I can do it, anybody could do it. And this goes a little deeper. Not a lot of people know this about me, but throughout all my schooling, I was in special needs. I had a very hard time learning, and I was very embarrassed for a very long time about that, because a lot of my friends thought I was, not sad to say the word, but retarded.
Wow.
And so it was a hard time for me to learn how to read, to write, to do math. I had some solid teachers, and a big shout out to my grandma for sticking to me, and to know they had faith in me and they believed in me, and that just made me believe in myself. I barely graduated high school, but I did it. And I actually have a video from one of my high school teachers that I need to drop because of this. But for a long time, I didn't think I was worthy enough or good enough or smart enough to be successful. And I knew at a young age, if I was going to be successful, it was going to be in an artistic way.
Okay.
So from that, I had faith in myself, because I was always doing something artsy, from landscaping to drawing out floor plans of housing to weird scenarios and weird situations. It was weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So and I just, I stuck to the vision. If I can't believe in myself, who will?
Right. It starts with you.
Exactly. And with the coronavirus and everything going on, I've been staying really active, and I have people that contact me. They're like, "Man, how do you stay busy? Like, how do you stay positive?" It's not easy. It's very hard. It's very stressful. But I'll tell you what, you need to keep your mind busy. Go outside, wash your car, cut the grass, clean the house.
Practical.
Just do something to keep yourself busy, because depression is a real thing. And I've been through it with my son. For a long time, I had to fight to have my rights as a father. And I got to a point where one night I actually passed out, and I busted open my eye, and I got taken to the hospital, and the hospital thought I got jumped because it was so bad. And I was like, look, I was in my house alone. My door was locked. They're like, well, are you going through anything? Well, I was like, Well, I've been going through a situation with my son. I haven't been able to see him. I haven't been sleeping well or eating, or and it just wore on my body. And from that moment, I said to myself, either this is gonna make me or break me. So after I got out of the hospital, I got my stuff together and I went to the courts and got all the paperwork myself and figured out how to get my rights as to be a father. And so that was a very hard time in my life because I just couldn't, I didn't get it. I didn't understand why a dad was trying to be there, but the mom didn't. And nothing to talk bad about my son's mom. She's a great mom, but we just had different views.
Right, right.
And, I don't know how she felt about me, but my focus was to be a father and to be there for my son. And so it was a good life lesson experience. And I don't ever regret anything that I go through in my life because I feel like it has made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And that's a great father.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but guess what? I know I'm a good dad and I love my son to death. And I do
Right.
everything I do is for my son. So
That in itself is motivating. I think that when I see my children, and you like I said, you know my sons.
yeah.
But when I see my kids, it motivates me to push.
Yep.
In a season that seems like it wants to pull me down,
Right.
I push.
Right.
And it would be easy for me to, and like I said, I've said on other episodes, sometimes you just need to take a day and lay down. And I had one episode where somebody says, just eat the junk food, but then you got to get up.
Yep.
You can't be there.
Yep.
You can't stay in the bed. We could just lay in the bed for like 5 years.
That's stagnation right there.
But that's stagnation. And
Yeah.
so when you get out, the world kept moving actually.
Right.
Even when you felt like it stopped, it actually, I think one of the most disrespectful things in life is time. I think
Yes.
and it's so weird. It will disrespect you because you will be stuck and time will keep moving.
That's right.
And so I think that you have to, when I hear your story, throughout all of it, you've had to figure out,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with this moment? What am I going to
Exactly.
do with this time? Even when you fell and hit your eye, I still got to get up. I got to get to the doctor. I got to get to the you just kept moving.
Yeah.
And I think that even when you said, like, get up, wash your car, go to the lawn, or take a walk,
Yeah.
practical things, set a goal.
There you go.
It is so, it motivates me on the inside because of and find something. If the thing is, number one, people say, like, hey, do it for you. But if you don't even think you're worth, find somebody else.
Right.
Find somebody else and do it for them.
Yep.
There are moments where I'm like, it's not worth it, Jay. But then I go, but my kids are worth it. So
Oh,
I'm
yes.
doing it for them. I'm doing
Exactly.
it for my wife. I'm getting up. I'm gonna have another conversation. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna get on set. I'm gonna do what I need to do because I'm doing it because there's something that's bigger than me.
Yes.
And I think even with the situation, there are things that are on the inside of us, and we have to take this time. I love what you said. Do the things now that you had no time for before.
Yep.
And that to me is what I think that's the season where I'm in. It's like, okay, instead of you doing default, do the things that you've had no time, like start putting stuff together because when you're on the other side of this, you'll be ready.
Exactly.
It's huge. It's huge.
And let me say a quote from one of a big role model I've looked up to about that, how you just said that. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. There's a lot of ways I relate to him, and there's some things I don't relate to him. But I watched the interview on him, and he says, when you start feeling uncomfortable is the moment you realize you're growing.
Wow. Yes.
And I took that in. I was like, wow, that is very powerful.
Right.
And that's so true. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I've worked my butt off throughout my life, but I've never worked as hard in my life during this time of COVID-19.
Wow.
I could truly say this is the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And it's very stressful. But I'm uncomfortable. And that's where I know I'm growing.
Yeah. It's easy to I feel like sometimes there's two comfortables. There's comfortable, like, this is good. I'm in a space, it's peace, it's
Right.
comfortable. But I'm not talking about that kind of comfort. I'm talking about the comfort with this topic. You're not making no moves.
Yeah.
You're comfortable
Exactly.
in being stuck. You're
Exactly.
comfortable. You don't want change. You go back to default. It's like you take one step forward and you want to go back 5 steps.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I am in this season. I've told a few friends this, and I've even had this conversation. Remember our first conversation? We were like, we should have recorded it.
Yeah.
But this is so good. But I am in a space to where I don't want to go back to the way things were. That
Right.
was comfortable.
Exactly.
And comfortable can become predictable. And with predictable, from this side of it, there's nothing new.
Right.
And there's nothing new. And so I'm kind of like in this space where I'm like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm very uncomfortable, and it's good. And
It's
now,
good.
in this being uncomfortable, what could new come out?
Exactly.
What have I just been like, nah, default, like, I think, like, people, like, for me, my voice, I use it 2 different ways. Comfortable is, let me sing.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortable is singing.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love it. It's awesome.
Confidence.
But I'm having to stretch myself and be like, you know what? I just don't want to fall back in default. What else can I do with this? What else can I do with my voice? What else can I learn? What else can I stretch?
Right.
What is on the inside of me? And so it's really stretching me to really figure out what else is on the inside of you. Don't just go to comfortable.
Yeah.
Because comfortable can become corruptible.
Hey, that's so true.
It can end up being like, oh no, like I'm just stuck, and it's corrupted. It's falling apart. And
Yeah.
you should have went with when you were uncomfortable. Try something new.
Yeah.
Take the detour.
Right.
Try it.
Yep.
I'm comfortable on this same route. I'm not changing. It's gonna come to a dead end.
And
Go another route.
exactly. And the thing with success to me, it's for a long time I thought successful was having the nice cars, having the big house, having all the jewelry. And as growing, I'm 29 years old, and in the last 2 years I've grown so much, and I just want to plant a seed in just one person. And I go to schools and I talk to students, and I've gone to elementary schools and I try to inspire them. And that's where I feel my success will be, is just being, if I could plant one seed into somebody and they came up to me and said, hey, I didn't give up because of you, or I became an artist because of you, or a barber because of you.
Wow.
That will be my success. Because trust me, I've gone from flat broke to sleeping in a car to having money in my account to being able to do whatever I want to do, to go wherever I want to go.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's I feel comfortable, but again, it doesn't bring the joy to my life that I am looking for, which I thought it would. And so with that being said, is now I want to be an outlet for young entrepreneurs or young artists to follow their dreams.
It's so good.
To be the reason why they are doing what people said they couldn't do. That's my success.
Yes. Wow. Giving back.
Yep.
It goes right back to, it's bigger than you.
Yeah.
It's bigger than you.
Exactly.
And when you are just so focused on you, you can miss the bigger picture.
Yeah.
At the same time, make sure you find out what is making you happy.
Yep.
And that way you can actually bring true joy. And it's not a false sense. But this is also the season where you did not have time for those things. Now is the time while you are uncomfortable to pick up those things.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
I appreciate this conversation so much. I appreciate you coming on and just taking the time out. Where can people find you? What's your social media? Where do you want people to find you? How can they connect with you when this is all over? I know they're gonna be your door's gonna be beaten down to get their haircuts and stuff. But anyway, like that, where can people find you right now as far as just like social media, inspiration, those things like that, connecting?
So I use Facebook and Instagram a lot. My name on Facebook is just Aaron Davis. My IG name, Instagram name is Mr. You Know, MRUKNOW. Not YOU. It's just UKNOW.
Okay. Okay. Bro, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. And this was good.
Oh my God. Would you ever come back on again?
Of course. I could go on. I could go on for hours.
I know. I can't wait for this is all over because I'm trying to like have you over for dinner so we can laugh and talk
Yeah.
and chop it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate your story.
I appreciate
It
you.
means so much, and I value it. And for you to be vulnerable to share those different things, man, is gold.
Yeah.
It is gold, and it's your story.
Exactly.
You know? And I value that, and so thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.